I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Yeah. Unknown Brain, Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye.
My life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you frowning, see you looking down and out. Coming to me crying, saying you miss having me around. Gave you chances and you blew it, you so easily influenced. All the times you told me beat it, now you gotta face the music, I'm saying
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say goodbye.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand, call
Well, you know what time it is. Whew. We back, baby. Bitcoins, shitcoins, or NFTs, there's no greater feeling than hitting that sweet
old time high in this bitch.
Watch it pump to the sky. We just buy and get rich. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump, pump, baby. We just buy and get rich. Yeah, run it back. We back in the black, we back in the green. Got the team all around me. We rowdy and causing scenes. Where you been? Grab a cup, baby. Come and take a sip. Oh my bad, yo, what's up? Man, you didn't buy the dip. Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's really gotta suck. Only problem that we got is that we didn't buy enough. Man, I joke, man, I kid. Know exactly what we did. Now we pull up in the whip. Cause we just hit. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump to the sky. We just buy and get rich. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump, pump, baby. We just buy and get rich. Got my family on the phone, they asking what they should buy. I say a time machine to take you back to when I was trying to get you buying on the low instead you trying to buy high. I guess it's time for me to sell this shit and wave it goodbye. Like sayonara, I don't wanna be stuck there with the bag. Don't be mad, I'm just saying I'm taking some of the cash that we stacked up, baby, cause we out of here. As we blast up straight into the stratosphere. Right through the old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump to the sky, we just buy and get rich. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump, pump, baby, we just buy and get rich. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump to the sky, we just buy and get rich. Old time high, old time high, old time high in this bitch. Watch it pump, pump, baby, we just buy and get rich.
Once again. What do you do with the Bitcoin besides it just gather value?
Real estate developers in New York City, they're not buying the real estate because they want to live in it.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay? Right, like, the point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura. Forever.
Right, I mean, we can all look Bitcoin sort of as...
Forever, Laura. People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. 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 Okay.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and split. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. People love the pump. Yeah. Got them lining up. Wow. See us winning, FOMO in and YOLO by the top. Dream of Lamborghini. Girlfriend in bikini. Front covered Forbes magazine is where you'll see me. Oh, what? How? Price went down. Who will save us now? Felt like a hero. Now the fear is here and it's clear as steering to zero. Yeah. Hands weak, bags heavy, and I'm ready to forget about already all the hopes and the dreams. So puke your position like mom spaghetti. I'm hungry and got long cash on and ready to just buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying.
Yeah.
When they tell you their investment conviction is dying.
Oh no.
But the market's dead.
Yeah.
That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up, guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend through the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
Buy that fucking dip. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
Buy that fucking dip.
Buy
that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
Buy that fucking dip.
Yeah.
When it drops, better cop, let it fucking rip.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto.
Last year, cryptocurrency funded every kind of dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists.
These people who own these things should not own your money in any of those. I do think you're an idiot, okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself. I hope it is. Is that clear?
With time, a seed becomes a tree, sheltering us. With time, a skill becomes a talent, empowering us. With time, a technology becomes a tool, enhancing us. By nature, time gives value to almost everything, yet the very thing our society gives value to, our money, loses value over time. This paradox warps our reality by defying the laws of nature, and it stems from the belief that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Meaning money must always lose value. We built our reality off of this model. Time value of money, we call it, but in reality, this is just dogma. Since we can keep making more of it, we end up destroying our own purchasing power. So we put it in stocks, put it in bonds, put it in land, put it in funds, put it in crypto, put it in gold. But we are not oracles, so what do we know? We know that it's hard to get by. We know some people may never retire. Is time value of money a license that discounts the monetary value of our time? If time is money, how are they moving in different directions? We're working longer for less, we end up just giving away our freedom. Give up liberty for policies, give up our agency to the authorities. Because when our foundation is built on complexity, we simplify humans by giving up our humanity. Reality check, we've strayed too far from the truth. The world economy's a wreck when 1 + 1 no longer equals to 2. And if life's created from the truth, along the way something got screwed. And we let our own dogma subjectify value. We divorce action from consequence. We defy the law of physics when we make scarcity infinite. We disregard the language of mathematics. So our systems are built on a fallacy. Our society's based on a fantasy. In the absence of truth, we're living in the shadows of our own reality. And that's the root problem. Man-made rules rules can be broken. As our trust crumbles, so does the progress of our civilization. But one thing remains constant: no one can cheat nature. So why not use it to architect a stronger base layer? The most beautiful buildings engineered based on these consequences. Natural law drives rigor needed to build something enduring, uncompromising on principles that accounts for the flaws. Because when our lives are at stake, the gravity of truth cannot be ignored. So if our monetary systems were designed like structures, it would embody energy and matter so the money itself matters. An unbreakable limit enforced by costliness of creation ensures the structure holds value for many generations. A rule-based system governed by maths builds a transparent ecosystem that can self-error correct. With no one in charge, no words are taken as fact. Only work from computation can actualize truth of timestamps, and like water flowing off a cliff down the path of gravity, computational energy makes time flow one way only. It is this irreversibility which gives value to our money by upholding consensus and scarcity to create one shared reality. Now the map is the territory. Now we're working with high fidelity. Now money is truthfully time and energy bound by finality. Now we have the ability to manifest each of our dreams and build a world that's much more reflective of all of our needs. And that's the purpose of money, merely a tool to shape our reality, merely a function to harness and express individuality, just a way to live freely, just a means for possibilities. When we build on integrity, we enhance the beauty of humanity. The most beautiful societies are built from diversity of our thoughts that come to life when we're empowered individually. Because when our money tomorrow is worth more than today, we shift from predicting to creating the future ourselves. And when our money grows in value, we grow thoughtful in how we use it. Natural law drives rigor needed to fund something enduring, something truly worth it, something that pushes the sky's limit, something only possible when our real value and consequence exist in boundless virtual dimensions. Imagine potential creations, fueled by monetary life force, lasting for many generations. We will venture into new territories and unleash these possibilities once we learn to embrace the truth of our reality.
All right, guys. God, I love that song. Tip NZ is amazing. She gets the purpose of Bitcoin, and not a lot of people do. So I'm excited. I'm very happy to have you guys here tonight. I appreciate you being here. Oh, my wife's bringing me some coffee. 1 second. I'm going to need coffee. You can bring it in. It's okay. Don't be scared. You're going to be fine. Thank you. All right. Here we are, guys. We got 36 minutes. It says on Watch Guru, let's see what we have on the Bitcoin halving clock that everybody likes to use. We're 1 minute and 52 seconds. That can't be possible. Is that real? What block are we on? That can't be right. No, now it's 2 minutes. So maybe the Bitcoin halving clock blocks until halving 6. So we're going to say that's broke. We're going to follow this one. That one's probably a better average. Oh, by the way, figured we're celebrating today, so I got my Bitcoin Christmas shirt on. So, but this is probably a more accurate prediction here with 35 minutes and 6 blocks remaining. So it depends on where you look. It's always going to look a little bit different. This is probably a better one as far as looking at the actual blocks and how quickly it refreshes. So we're going to go with this one. Thank you. But yeah, today's kind of a big day, man. I get a little sentimental too, like that Tip NZ, the last 2 songs that we just listened to. I think there's a ton of truth in that. There's a lot of things broken in the world. And fiat don't help that. When your money's constantly stolen from you and you have to just, like if you don't reinvest it or find ways to make it grow or being able to outpace inflation, and if you don't try really hard, you can get crushed in this world, and that pain will only be stronger the more we dilute people's wealth. So that video means a lot to me. I think a lot of the things going wrong in our society today, there's so many things going right. Life is so much better now than it was, 50 years, 100, 200 years ago. But there's some stuff that's really perpetually broken, and the money printer is the reason for it. So I don't know if Bitcoin will ever be a currency, but I think it's a tool that will help store wealth and help preserve it, and can make the world a much better place than it is today, as people feel like they have hope They feel like they have opportunity. And so, I don't know. This day for me is a lot less about the fact that we're going to be going from 900 Bitcoin getting created every day and entering the supply to 450 than it does just what it can do for everybody. All right, without further ado, today on Whale Alerts, we had one post indicating that they had printed, the Tether Treasury had printed $1 billion. I don't know if it's on here again, but they actually did another one later too. So they printed $2 billion worth of Tether now. When that happens, that is a strong indication that there is money that's going to be applied to the system. If you look back at stablecoins and their history, you can see how tiny they used to be. Like 2017, it was like a theory. Then the next cycle, it was a little bit more than a theory. And then this last cycle, it exploded. But now we're heading even higher. So I just wanted this line to be represented here to indicate just how much is out there sitting in stablecoins, a total of $158 billion. And you have to realize that this is money sitting on the sidelines waiting to enter crypto, specifically Bitcoin and then the rest, right? So there's a lot of money on the sidelines. There's something I wanted to talk to you guys about too that I don't think a lot of people understand. I don't know how much I've voiced it on videos recently, but I want to say it. I saw that Invest Answers video. We're actually going to be referencing some of it. Oh, you're talking about the miner one. CLSK, Riot, Cypher were his top 3 miners in order. That's cool. I don't disagree about Riot maybe being an okay opportunity. They just have a lot to prove, and they started to do that recently. But yeah, we're going to reference some of Invest Answers, his latest video, and some of the metrics and things that he was dropping along with the stuff I have here. But there's something I want you guys to understand about inflows in markets that have been illiquid for a long time, or that have a problem with constrained supply, like we're getting ready to experience right now, with the potential on top of that of having an influx of demand. If you want to see what that looks like, you can look at the uranium markets. There's something, though, that's really, really important that I don't think people understand. They don't understand the price, right? 90% of people, maybe 95% of people don't understand one very important thing. The price of Bitcoin could be $100,000 tomorrow. And it wouldn't take a lot of money to do that. So we've got $158 billion just in stablecoins sitting down the sidelines. And I'd say maybe it would take 200 million, maybe 300 million just for liquidity if everybody decided that Bitcoin was $100,000 tomorrow and they all agreed on that price. And then that liquidity flooded out to all the different exchanges and ways that it can be traded. And then everybody agreed on it. So that's the thing I don't think people understand, is that you could make the market cap $1 trillion greater overnight just by with a very low amount. And maybe it's 300 million, 400 million. I haven't done the math. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is you just need enough liquidity to flow out to all the little tentacles and everybody to agree on the new price. And that's what it would be. So when you think about flows and dollar amounts required for this asset class to be like a multi-trillion-dollar asset, don't think it takes $1 trillion to add another trillion. Math doesn't work that way in the investment world. It's one of those things where it takes whatever it takes for people to agree. And that's across the entirety of everything, right? Like if we decided tomorrow that bread was double the price, it would be double the price if the people that were willing to buy it were willing to buy it at double the price, and the people that were selling it were doing that. And everybody agreed on it, that's what it would be. So you just have to realize that that's how it works with asset classes. That's why when you have FOMO, fear of missing out, you can have prices on especially illiquid assets like shitcoins. Why do you think I have $400,000 in shitcoins? It ain't for my health. It's because they're illiquid. And when they become liquid, the numbers will get stupid based upon the principles that I just talked about. So I just want you guys to think about this. Think about this money sitting on the sidelines. Think about what can happen in the future with very small amounts, with people agreeing on new prices in illiquid assets or assets that have an incredibly high amount of demand and very little supply that people are willing to sell. All right, somebody posted this earlier. I kind of added on to it, but You hear me talk about Fibonacci sequence when I'm using it for like trend-based extensions and retracements. It exists in everything, from the smallest things in the universe to the largest parts of it, right? To entire galaxies. It's a law that we don't fully understand, but it's there. And Bitcoin was built off the principle. So the halving events, the timing of getting cut in half, it is the Fibonacci sequence. It was probably designed this way for a reason, right? To use the science and the principles of the universe that we can barely grasp sometimes. So I just think this is cool. This shows you how much Bitcoin will be generated throughout all these different time frames after the halvings, all the way down to 2140, where we'll stop generating Bitcoin, and all the Bitcoin that have ever existed will exist, and there will be no more with block rewards. It'll be all transaction fees. Now, to illustrate this in a different way, I just threw up this picture. And again, it shows things like acorns, it shows hurricanes, it shows galaxies, it shows seashells, it shows plants, it shows everything ties into this. So when I'm talking about fibs, this is what I'm talking about. And Bitcoin is the perfect fib. It's the perfect financial fib. And I think that's pretty cool. All right. I put, love it, keep it up, Argentina. I'm a little not completely sold on Javier Milei. I like him, but he's doing some weird stuff with trying to know who has Bitcoin, and I don't love that. He's not Bukele by any means from El Salvador. I wish he was. But again, though, he's got a background where he could still do great things, and he could be the best thing that happened to Argentina. I'm not shitting on him, but yeah. So I'm rooting for you here. The USA is rooting for you guys, Javier Milei and Bitcoin, and it shows that Bitcoin purchases reached their highest level in 20 months as these guys suffer from 276% inflation. They're rushing to Bitcoin, and they should be, right? Like, that's the savior for everybody that deals with inflation. All right, let me get caught up in chat real quick here, too. Kind of missing some here. I'm going to start over here. Disease Kodak, the cycle I just have, MSTR, CLSK, and Cypher. It's probably a good batch, man. Intelligent Computing, are you able to put the 1 minute BTC USD chart in the bottom left corner? I can't yet. I'll try and fix that stuff later. I can't do that right now while I'm talking. I've got a bunch of stuff to fix. I just haven't done it yet. I've got to get the Stream Deck up. I got a lot of things on my plate, but I'm excited. I'm really getting fired up, man. So I'm going to try and step up my game a lot here in the weeks and months ahead. I'm going to try and automate a lot of stuff. I found some really cool tools. Like I said, and I was showing earlier in the other stream, I've got my macro, micro data sets and all kinds of crazy analytics here. We've added Ortex, which is going to give me a view into like credit default swaps and options markets and, short interest down to the minute, just crazy stuff across indices, individual stocks, everything. We're going to be stepping up our game a lot here soon. So it should be fun. But yeah, let me see what else we got here. Are you able to... Disease Kodak, you saw Invest Answers video, CLSK, Riot, and Cypher were his top 3 miners. I mean, yeah, so I surrounded that a little bit. I'm kind of in agreement. That's not a bad order. I would switch Cypher and Riot around, but he's probably looking at it as like order of safety too. As Cypher, like a small, large cap, medium to large cap, small cap. I think is kind of the way he's looking at that order. Intelligent Computing, Disease Kodak. It's on my watch later list. The one from yesterday, right? Disease Kodak, yeah, great watch. Disease Kodak. Jesse, there's a certain price you plan to cut some miners, or MSTR, 92,000 or a certain level. Yeah, 150,000. I'm probably keeping everything until 150,000 or 149 to be accurate. I'll show you. I've got some charts I don't show very often. I'll pull one up. It's got the halvings inside of it, and it shows my targets, and then I'll show you my Bitcoin chart too. So we'll look at both of those things and go over that. I've been to El Salvador. My girlfriend has family there. That's cool, man. How was it? Silas, hello, people, creatures. Damien G, 5 blocks to go. Is it really now? Yep, 4 blocks to go, guys. Holy shivets. Holy shivets. We'll have to cut this halfway through and celebrate. I want to kind of like do more talking afterwards so it's not as anticlimactic as just watching it roll over and then it's done. So we won't be done right away when it's over here. All right. What's up, man? 4 blocks to go. I wonder if we'll get a 5K candle to 69 shortly after. I would love it if we got to 69,000 on 420. That's what I'm shooting for. So tomorrow would be the perfect day to get to 69. And then we need to message Elon if that happens, because I think he'll find the humor in it. Kevin Stover, shout out from Chili's in Bangor. Not even work will keep me from watching. Keep up the great work, Jesse. Thanks, bro. Derek Dillman, this is a real life friend of mine. Thank you for joining, bro. I love you, man. Luis Martinez, an article said Saylor sold a bunch of MSTR shares. He always sells. Just ignore that stuff. He buys too. Don't worry about it. Disease Kodak, El Salvador was dope. Beautiful beaches and mountains. I'm sure it's getting better all the time too now that the crime's starting to die down. He's tough on crime, man. But BD, $69 full self-driving offer on 420. Wouldn't that be great too? C-List. So basically, this is the Riff Raffiest halving party. You know it, brother. Hello, Disease Kodak. Okay, so we got 4 blocks to go. It says we got 30 minutes. We'll check back in a second. More stuff to talk about. So I tried to be as soft as possible in my explanation here. I put gold is a shit inflation hedge, especially when compared to Bitcoin. Thank you, Invest Answers. I like to give credit to people when it's due. And this is a chart from Invest Answers. We're going to steal more of his work in a minute here. But what he was talking about here is if you look at gold versus the US M2 money supply, and you go back 44 years and look at how well gold hedged your money, over that 44 years, instead of losing roughly 99% of the value of your money, if you would have kept it in dollars, you only lose 75% of your money. So you still got 25% left, guys. Yay. And by the way, 44 years is close to the average work lifespan of somebody before they retire. So that's kind of sad, right? It's kind of sad. Gold was a shitty hedge. This is a message that I've been preaching for a while, but my buddy had some great charts, so I had to show it. Also, this is from Invest Answers yet again. This time I was able to clip the actual portion that's got his name on there. So this is James. He's a great dude, one of the most brilliant analysts out there. Nobody works harder than James and his crew. It says halving, stock to flow, world not ready. So this is showing the stock to flow. The green is the stock to flow model. The gold here is the rate of inflation for gold in comparison. And then there's the Bitcoin inflation. And what we're trying to show, and I'm sorry, the gold, actually, let me show this correctly. I should say this. This gold arrow is actually representation of this pinkish line, red line here. So that's the inflation rate of gold. It's over 2%, closer to 3%. It's kind of back and forth. It's hard to validate how much gold actually gets created. It's really tough to know for sure, but it's around 2.5 to 3% is what we believe it to be, or 2.4 to 3%. Now this is what the Bitcoin inflation rate is. In each halving, you can see how much it's dropped, right? When we were sitting up here, we were at like 100% inflation. And then by the time we got to our first halving, we were like at 30% inflation. And then we were down to like 15. And again, it just keeps getting cut in half. So it's getting cut again. And this means that the inflation rate of gold will be 3 times more than what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is that much harder of an asset. There's 1/3 of the inflation that gold has. That's a very important thing for you to understand. It's, again, just you have to realize Bitcoin is the best store of value on the planet, the most agreed upon. It's got the most governments that are backing it right now. I never thought I would have said that. Even a year ago, I wouldn't have said that the US had a bunch of ETFs and that Hong Kong had a bunch of ETFs and that Korea was spinning them up and that Brazil had already done it. And just everybody has them now. And there's all these inflows. And there's a video that we're going to watch. We're going to watch a little bit of Invest Answers here because he talks about a number of things that I want you to see. You got to see it. So we're gonna let him speak for a second. He's going to talk about our RIAs, and we're just going to let him roll through a few charts, and then we'll continue here, and I'll throw out some more dialogue. But we're going to watch this real quick.
Now, other stuff I've been promising after the first 90 days, the RIAs sit back and watch. Is this thing worth investing in? Well, shout out to Hunter Horsley, Double H, H2. Right now, countless RIAs and multifamily offices are buying Bitcoin and doing homework. They haven't jumped in with both feet yet, and they're being very secretive about it. And that's the weird thing that came from this article is you have all these firms Literally, it's kind of like the old thought is, the old rifles. You start to put the gunpowder in, and then you put the little ball in, and you pack it down. That's what they're doing the last 90 days. They're getting ready to shoot, and that shoot is to buy Bitcoin, but they're very secretive in how they do it. They don't want the world to know they're getting in. They want to sneak in quietly and grab it before the price goes up. Kind of like what Mr. 100 is doing, who we'll talk about in a minute too. This is interesting, and we will be very surprised of who is going to buy Bitcoin over the next 90 days, and we'll see that in the 13F filings. Speaking of those, proof that RAs are putting their toe in the water, more 13Fs are rolling in, and the biggest one to date, both in size and allocation, is Quattro Advisors. This is based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I think. They are an RIA, registered investment advisor, and they bought $19 million worth of IBIT. It is their third biggest holding in their bag, and remember, the rest of their portfolio is a vanilla, low-cost Vanguard ETF and a few blue-chip stocks. AKA, this is what they call it's going to sound offensive, the boomer special. They cater to boomers, all right? It's a boomer portfolio sold by RIAs, and they are now 5% in Bitcoin. And they're just the first of many that are coming. So when you talk about that perpetual bid coming in for Bitcoin, it's going to happen, but there's a lot less of it right now. To prove how scarce this thing is, I ran some numbers this morning. This is Mr. 100, and I thought, well, how much have they bought so far in April, last week, over the last 30 days, and crunched the numbers, okay? And what's really startling is if you imagine we wind back the clock 30 days, and we assume what's going to happen to Bitcoin issuance in 6 hours. So I'm assuming just for these calculations, issuance of 450 a day. And my question to myself was, how much is Mr. 100 buying? Okay, this gets really bonkers really fast. You can see here, over in April so far, they bought 5,462 Bitcoin, 19 days. That is 64% of the issuance of 450 a day. Last week, they bought 3,045 Bitcoin. That's 96.67% of the daily issuance. And the last 30 days, 65.53, call it 66%. They alone are buying 2/3. But the last week was interesting. It was kind of like a pre-halving run. A visual of what that looks like. Again, focus on just last week. They bought pretty much all daily issuance. Will Mr. 100 continue? And I keep getting questions, okay? I did an entire video on the mysterious Mr. 100, and I keep getting, oh, well, it's a...
So this is important. So Dylan LeClaire and some other people were saying that Mr. 100, which we believe, at least I believe, I agree with James. His thesis is like it's some sovereign wealth fund, like Saudi Arabian or something like that, Qatar, one of these places, where they're stacking Bitcoin and they're doing it consistently. There was some dispute about whether or not Mr. 100 was actually an exchange. That's what Dylan LeClaire was saying, and he's brilliant, and I love him, but he's wrong. And James is going to be talking about right here about the patterns of an exchange and how they don't do at all what Mr. 100's been doing. This is a sovereign state or something like that. And they're gathering Bitcoin at a rate of like the entire new supply in a day. This one entity. And then we have the Bitcoin ETFs. And then we have Grayscale selling half or losing half of their Bitcoin. So their downward pressure is going away. But he's going to talk more. Let's let him go here.
It's a cold wallet from a centralized exchange. No, it's not, because I've analyzed all the cold wallets from all the centralized exchanges. They do not behave like this wallet. Okay, let me explain. I repeat it again because people keep forgetting, or maybe they missed the video. Regular stacking habits. The buys accelerate as the price dips. That's DCAS, dollar cost average on steroid behavior. They buy in 100 Bitcoin increments. Nobody does this. Nobody. They diverge from typical pattern. This is a stacker. I am 99% sure of that. We'll see. We'll find out in due course.
Yeah, and I'm with him. That it in no way looks like an exchange. It's constant inflows. He shows graphs and other things that show normal exchanges and how they ebb and flow based upon volume, inbound and outbound volumes, right? This is nothing like that. This is just a stacker who gets more and more aggressive. No matter whether the price is going up or down, they buy more Bitcoin. This isn't an exchange. It doesn't make any sense. These inflows that we're looking at, they don't make any sense for one exchange that nobody's ever heard of.
Now, Pomp is on TV, I think, every day now.
Skip that one.
He was saying this, but we're going into the first ever.
It's a good one, but I don't think it's very valuable.
With demand that is through the roof, like we've never seen before.
This is a cool one.
Now, speaking of the opposite of demand, dumpage,
Grayscale
has halved
on halving.
The day before the halving. We did say we expected it to happen, and it happened. So they went from 621,000 Bitcoin on January 11th, if my memory serves me right, to 307,000. Over half is gone in 68 trading days. Let's look at some of the Bitcoin black hole, and it's important to track these trends, and I have a brand new chart too. Day 68 raw numbers. The interesting thing to see is we only were down minus 4.3 million. So we saw that in a minute too.
All right.
But this was another question I had to myself. It's like, okay, how much were they buying per day on average per fund? And this is interesting. These numbers are pretty huge. The average flow per day, Fidelity, 121 million. IBIT, BlackRock, 224 million. That's $250 million a day for 68 days flowing into BlackRock. And BlackRock never had a down day. I don't think Fidelity had either.
So one of the things he's going to say here is BlackRock, right over here, 224 in inflows, almost completely made up, just themselves, not all these other ETFs, for GBTC's outflows. And in case you don't know why people are leaving GBTC, these are people that collected, they bought this thing when it was at a massive discount, maybe even almost 50% versus their underlying holdings in the bear market of this last cycle, when everybody was worried about DCG Corp, their parent company, and whether or not they were going to go belly up because Gemini, one of their other companies, and just like all this shit that was going on with all these interconnected businesses. Grayscale's holdings were just at a discount, a massive discount. People who bought that made a shit ton of money. I did all right on that. I could have done better. I wish I would have had more faith, but I did all right. But so you get these long-term holders that they're looking to liquidate because the fees are too high. They were 2.5% or something. And then you have these other Bitcoin ETFs that have 0% fees, or like MicroStrategy that acts as a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. So that's why Grayscale sees massive outflows. Nobody gives a shit about it. We got 3 blocks, 2 blocks. Holy shit, 18 minutes. Ugh, it's happening. It's happening. All right, let's move forward. Oh, phew, this is happening so quick. But we're going to keep talking about stuff when it's over.
And Grayscale was dumping 245 million a day, $250 million. So basically, BlackRock, almost. Of course, it's going to slow down. But with these RIAs coming in, we'll find out. Here is the macro update. You can see Grayscale, green, up, and all the others popping up too. Thank you, Piper and Jimmy, for coming. I got people.
Real quick, before we move on to his next point, the registered investment advisors getting into this, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And I don't even think it's just this country. Everybody is stepping into Bitcoin, and there's inflows in all these exchanges, like back-end trading, banks that are working on custody solutions, like all the things that people have talked about for years are happening right now behind the scenes. So we haven't even seen the valve on all the potential inflows open up all the way yet. It's probably still got 30% more to go, maybe 40. So there's a lot of room for growth for our inflows on top of the reduction in supply that we have. So you have to remember that. And again, it doesn't take a lot of money to move it.
From all over the world. And we had a slightly negative day, nearly at break even, which is a very positive sign going into the halving. It's not like the ETFs have given up the ghost of Bitcoin. Not at all, which is also positive. Money flow, exciting. $36.6 billion into the 9 new ETFs, and 531,500 Bitcoin in the new ETFs. And finally.
And you got to remember, guys, one thing real quick. These negative flows from GBTC, they've lost half their Bitcoin, guys. So, or half the holdings that they've had to liquidate since they became an ETF. So they don't have a lot left. There's a certain number of people that won't leave. And then because again, it's not like it hurts them a lot. They just have to reduce the number of shares with the people that sell. So it's not like it has to track pretty close to the price, right? Since it's an ETF now. Before it was an over-the-counter trade, and it was just a fucking mess because it was disconnected from the underlying asset. But now it's not that way, so it doesn't really hurt the price of GBTC. It moves proportionally to Bitcoin. But once those outflows are gone, and you just have inflows, it's gonna be crazy. You're gonna have a lot of things flipping at once. Supply 900 to 450. Outflows stop on the ETFs. You got Hong Kong ETF inflows. You got these RIAs and everybody kind of turning up the valves and start getting started. And you've got, nation states potentially buying up to 450 Bitcoin a day in just one wallet. And so they're consuming the entire new supply for the network, for the entire world. But then you also have people like Michael Saylor. And, Michael Saylor is going to be having a get-together here soon, probably with a number of businesses. They're going to speak as well about how to custody Bitcoin as an alternative asset to holding dollars or bonds for corporations now, since the new BASB accounting rules went into effect this year. So, and they're probably going to have some corporations that announce that they're holding Bitcoin. Imagine what that does. The last time they did stuff like that, they got Tesla involved in it. Maybe they get another big name or just a bunch of small ones. It doesn't really fucking matter. It'll open the valve for corporations getting involved in this too. It's very important for you guys to know that this stuff is happening, and it's happening super fast. What are we at? Still 2 blocks, 14 minutes. Woof. All right, let's keep going here. I want to see if there's anything else. He's just talking about flows being muted. That's great. Oh, this is cool. Let's watch this. This is another indicator that I'm going to end up tracking.
Bitcoin chart time. This is super exciting too. If you weren't bullish, you will be after this chart. Thank you, Richard, for coming too.
And I've never heard of this chart before, but James said he back tested it to a bunch against a bunch of other things. Titans of Crypto, this little image up here. He's the guy who posted this. He's a great guy, great follow on X. And but James back tested this and said that it worked for just a ton of different stocks to indicate like the expansion moment when you could make a bunch of money.
In the United Kingdom. So this is the Williams Alligator Indicator. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the chart consists of, and it's a monthly chart as well. If you want, you can build this at home yourself. It's 3 moving averages, real simple. So you have the blue line, and that's a 13-month moving average, and it's moved into the future as well. You've got the red line, 8-month moving average, and I sometimes get this wrong. The blue is the jawline of the alligator, the teeth is the red line, and the green line is the lips. I didn't even know an alligator had lips. Anyway, it's a weird indicator, but it's super interesting because it only happens once every 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, right? The green line, by the way, is the 5-month issue. So now, when the lines start to separate, this is what they call the awakening alligator, and this was done by a guy called Williams, who's been making TA charts for 40 or 50 years. Really, really good person on the TA side. If the jars start to separate, with the green line, the lips, crossing above the red teeth, and the blue jaw lines, it suggests the alligator is waking up. And this signals the start of a very bullish trend. It just began. So if you look at the white dots that circle in when the alligator mouth opens, it awakens. That's exactly what happens in confluence with Bitcoin halving cycles. It's just begun to open up right now. So this, I tested this.
All right, 1 second on that here. We're going to move over to the price of Bitcoin since I don't have my chart. I will get that fixed though. So again, this is what I wanted to see, guys. So we had our daily candle close. It engulfed the other candle. So now we have a tweezer bottom that's formed here. We've got volumes underneath of us. We've got this fib that we're going to look to hit next. So I think we could at least go up and test the 65.4 level before potentially rejecting and grinding into here. But we could just start going up. There's so many crazy mechanics going on right now, guys, that we did not have before. I just don't know how to represent that. Like, I'm going to try and represent it. We're going to be watching stuff here, but you guys need to realize there's a lot of positivity this cycle that we've never seen, and you just need to understand what's coming, man. Get FOMO now. Don't get it later. God, please don't get it later. Some people are calling this the double halving. I call it the triple halving because you have FASB accounting rules. You have the halving event. You've got the Bitcoin ETF. You've got the RIAs. You've got more ETFs coming in. You've got nation states potentially buying this. I mean, it could be the quad fucking happening. I don't know anymore. It's more than the double halving, though. 1 block to go. Oh, 8 minutes. Oh, all right. We're going to come back to that in a second. Count it down. Yeah, this is just crazy, though. This is exciting, guys. We're so close. We're so close to amazing times. And my friend Derek's been around. Is this your third halving, Derek? I think technically it's like vaguely my third, even though I started after that one. I was probably like months late, maybe a quarter. But I think my buddy Derek here, he's been through 3, I think, at least. So yeah, but this is exciting stuff. And what did you say last, Derek? Isn't always tax advantageous for everyone to sell GPTs? Exactly. No, that's a good point. It depends on where they're storing it, right? If they have it in an IRA, then they don't have to worry about it. If they have it in just a regular investment account, then they might want to wait before they cash those gains in. So who knows? Maybe we see increasing inflows now that we passed the tax year. I don't know, because now people can outflows of GBTC, because now that tax time is over, they can sell now and then push those capital gains until April of 2025. So maybe we see stronger outflows from Grayscale in the coming days, weeks, especially if there's market pressure and global liquidity is contracting. And before we see the upside. But again, there's only so many. We've already had 50% of them leave. That's such a huge amount. Gavin, I asked James what the price of BTC would be if GBTC didn't dump on our heads, and he said he could figure it out. He could probably figure it out with a reasonable amount of accuracy, but it would be so hard to confirm because it's a reality that we will never see. JMD, while Invest Answers is smart, he was so wrong all of 2022, and you were wrecked if you took his calls. What was he wrong about? I'm curious. I didn't. I followed him on and off for a while, but I mean, I've kind of been learning and doing my own thing, so I'm not sure what you're referencing, but I'd be curious to know if you were intelligent computing can tell me what he was wrong about. Will, one block. Oh, that was from earlier. The crypto witching hour is upon us. Maytag. I love that I'm talking to Maytag. Hey, Jesse, thanks for doing this live. The halving is here. Let's go. Dude, it's so exciting. And look at this. This is bullish price action. My girlfriend called me, so now I'm so behind. Oh, okay, no worries. You're not that behind. We've got 5 minutes left until this bitch rolls over. And these poor Bitcoin miners start making half the revenue that they were making today. So we're getting super close, guys. It's getting exciting. CTO Larson did a comparison of performance before and after each of the halvings. Performance prior to the halving is a 4x for this cycle. Do the math. I guess I don't know what you mean by 4x from where. Are you talking about from here? I'd say it's at least a 4x. You know what? I should show you guys some of my shit. You know what? Well, yeah. Let's pull this up for like a second here. So there's a few things I want to show you guys that I think are helpful. So that's what we're going to do. And then we'll get back over there in a second here. I just got to show this to you. Are you watching the chart? I will be. All right, so here's something I created. It's got the peaks, which looks like a perfect channel. The troughs, which was a perfect channel. Boom, 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 all the way up. And so these are almost perfectly parallel to each other. And what I'm seeing here is not only a fib level that gets us up near 280,000. Is it happening? Oh, dude, it happened. We're retweeting that bitch. 1 second here. Oh, I can't believe it. So we're done. That's it, guys. That's the weirdness of this climax, right? No, it's trying to push me back to here again. Fuck you. Let's go over here and see if it's worked over here. Yep. We got a few days left on our next halving, guys. Don't start counting it down now. 1,412 days, 23 hours, 58 minutes. That's our next one. Pretty freaking awesome. All right, let's go back here. So I have our peak here at 280,000. That's what I think we get to this cycle. And I don't just say that based on this chart. I have another chart, the BLX. Welcome to the new cycle. Hell yeah. So I've got my BLX chart here that I've analyzed everything, right? Like forwards, backwards, from the tops to the bottoms, to the bottoms to the tops, to the halving and before and after. Like I've looked at all kinds of metrics that you can look at. And there's so many others. We'll look at a few more here. But what I wanted to show you is the target here as well. So this one's a little bit different. But it has us blowing up here to 174 and then 337. And my targets, if you look here, like percentage wise, and I actually had like a little flag up here. I must have put it down, but it lined pretty much up around the same area. And if you look at the fib levels here, I was arguing in this last one after the third halving that that we got a neutered top. And if we wouldn't have had that, we would have lined up differently over here. And so I think we're going to make up for that now, especially when rates start to come down. Happy 450. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Going from 900 Bitcoin to 450 a day. It's pretty nuts. It's so many things are changing. So many things are changing. Let's do this real quick. I want to finish
indicator
this
as well
out.
on other assets. And when it happens,
so he's talking about the alligator.
This indicator is very rarely wrong. This is perfect for Bitcoin too. Now, another view as well of how the gainers.
This chart right here, this shows the percentage of return after the halving event. So we got 8,000, 3,000, 800. Again, I think this one was neutered. I think it would have been closer to 1,000, maybe a little bit more. If rates hadn't been risen at the most aggressive rate in history, right over here, I think instead of a double top, we would have had another push higher. But the pressure started over here, and then it was just too deep to overcome. But if we would have had, then maybe our drop would have been here, but it would have been wicked back up, and then we would have went like, up to here, maybe gotten to the 150K range or something like that. I think would have been more realistic for last cycle. But that got neutered. So if anything, we're making up for that now. And then we're also have all the ETF inflows, have corporate inflows because of the new FASB accounting rules, making it where they mark these things at fair value. How do I do the peace sign? Oh. Can I do it? Does a heart do anything? Let's see here. Nope. I just randomly every once in a while get a thumbs up. Cool. But yeah, with corporate inflows from the new FASB accounting rules, it makes it to where a corporation, if they want to hold Bitcoin instead of a government bond, or like maybe have a proportion where they're like maybe, instead of cash burning a hole, they have like, let's say 60% bonds, 10% Bitcoin, and then maybe the rest in cash. We could see a lot more of that. And the reason we'll see that is before, whatever it was marked down to at the lowest point in the quarter was what it was on your quarterly results. So you would get abnormally fucked to the downside on your holdings, which could really fuck up your accounting if Bitcoin drops, 30% over the quarter or 40%. And it can do that. It used to be able to do 50% in a quarter. So that can be scary from anybody in the accounting world. Like, how are you going to get a CFO to sign off on this shit? You wouldn't, right? But now it gets marked at fair value, which means like whatever it is at the end of the quarter. And so you're more in alignment with what's happened over time. And you're not getting overtly penalized where you're getting like a $15,000 valuation when it might have bounced up to 30 at the end of the quarter. So it just makes it, from an accounting perspective, it makes it cleaner. And so I think that's a positive thing. And then again, you've got massive ETF inflows. You got RIAs where these investment advisors are starting to push this stuff like crazy. And I can tell you, I've talked to a lot of investing people, both anecdotally, like locally where I'm at, and also too just in the FinTwit world. And there is so much interest in Bitcoin now from people that laughed at it last cycle and who never thought we'd even have an ETF. And because of people like Larry Fink and BlackRock validating it, they all of a sudden now believe it's real and want to invest in it because they had enough people tell them that it was. It wasn't me and you that got them to realize it. It was like all the boring ass people they've been listening to for years. So it's really fascinating to see like all these doors opening up and people starting to rush in at the time where they're taking all the goodies away because of the halving. It's just going to be fucking nuts, guys. It's going to be nuts. We got nations fighting over this shit. Corporations fighting over this stuff. Investment advisors fighting over this stuff. Boomers starting to fight over this stuff. And there's less of it. So, what can I say? To answer your question, Invest answers in 2022 when BTC dropped off the 34 to 47 range for that time. Using his analysis and same indicators, he was adamant that 34K would hold. Oh, yeah. That's tough. That's tough, man. It's tough to find the absolute bottom. I guessed that it was lower, just because I look at the halving, or I look at the cycles, each cycle, and so you have lower drops, you have lower troughs. So when I first got interested in it, let's say like over here, when we did really good and boomed up in 2017 before it fell off a cliff, like that time it was down like 82% or something. Time before that was like 87%. Then over here it was like in the 70s. So it keeps becoming less. And we didn't go as high as I thought we were going to. So I didn't think the drop was going to go too far. So like 15 was a pretty decent level. And then again, it's hard to, like, you could be 5,000 above or beyond that. Like it would have been, we could have stopped at 20. We could have stopped at 20, the previous all-time high. But it kind of made sense that we fell into that a little bit to find support on the previous high, right? Like if we look over here, it kind of made sense that we fell over here. You can literally see on the peak of the last cycle, when we're looking at the monthly time frame, that's where all the volume was, right? And so like this area here was like a little buffer and a little pad. It could have went even lower. Like it could have went down here to the 11s or 12s. I mean, that could have happened too. But it's hard to like be perfect on timing. That is super hard. I wouldn't like, or full depth of something like that and the timing, it can be difficult, man. That's not the easiest. But if you were buying and you were working hard and you had extra money and you could DCA into it, then it just wouldn't even matter. And here's the thing, getting in at that level, if he was wrong and it was like 32 or 34,000 and you got in at 32, 34,000, you're doing almost twice as fucking good as people are right now that are getting in. So that's kind of cool. So it's still like, again, the earlier you can, the better. Farhan, thank you for joining, man. Let me see here. I'm going to expand and contract. Let me do this. I will go back to my previous view. Let's zoom in here. But just look at this. Guys, remember this. Look at this. We busted up. We grinded up against this fib really hard. Third real attempt on the weekly, and we got up. Like the third really strong attempt. Shot up to the next fib. Bounced off of it, shot up again, shot above the other fib, just said fuck you and went above it, dropped underneath of it, but now we're finding support on top of it. Fuck. I'm just looking at this now and realizing how bullish this looks. Let me go back. Sorry, I had to re-brighten my screen. This is so bullish. Again, hit this, boom. Hit this, grind, boom. Don't even fucking slow down for the next one. Get above it. Find support on it. Arguably, we're still doing it. I mean, look at this. This is so fucking bullish. Let me change this. I need to take the automatic off. I want to draw this myself. Look at this. So if we just do this, if we get rid of this shit, we need to get back up to here to be above the fib. Look at all these wicks underneath of us. It cannot drop. If the end of the week we close anywhere close to 66K, this bitch is on like Donkey Kong. Like straight up. We're heading towards $92,000. That's our next goal. If we close right here on this fib above 65, like closer to 66,000 by Sunday close, I think that's 6 nowadays. I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe it's 7. I don't know. It gets different based upon the time of the year. Then we will be ready to go up. Can you imagine 92,000 by like the summer? Sometime in the summer? Can you imagine? Here's what I think is going to happen. I think by the end of the year, we get to 148. And then we retrace. It doesn't have to happen perfectly in this order, but I think that would make sense. So I'm telling you, we could get to 148, and that's when I'm going to sell. If we do that in a hurry, that's when I'm going to sell a decent amount of my miners, maybe some MSTR if it's really overextended. Let's say the premium got to 250 or maybe even 300%. I would sell, and I would take that, and I would wait to buy a dip or buy some of my other favorite things. You guys know I got a lot of favorite things. But this is so exciting. Like, this is so exciting. And then maybe we grind. So maybe we break up to like 150 up here. And then maybe we grind underneath of it. And then rock it up again and before we go higher. Like, I don't know. Again, these levels are so insane, guys. I'm telling you, I think we can get to 280,000 by like June or July of 2025. That's my high-end target, is right up there. And it would just be the most perfect channel you've ever seen in your life. And I don't know anybody that shows this. But this is what I think happens. This is the logarithmic chart. These are the bottoms. You might not think this is a bottom here, but if you zoom in, you can see that these were wicks. So it couldn't stay underneath that 200 weekly moving average for long. So these wicks don't really count when you're drawing this out. So touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point. And then we just can't go underneath of it when we start grinding higher. And then up here, this is almost perfectly parallel, this other red line. And it will be where we have peak resistance. DJ White Gold, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining, man. So, like, this is so exciting. Like, can you imagine 280,000? What would that do for your life? And even if you cash out before that, if you're using multipliers like I am, and you've got MicroStrategy that's a 2x multiplier to its underlying assets, the Bitcoin that they hold, and then whatever value their business has, which isn't much in comparison. If you look at that, and then also you look at the miners, which I believe on average will get you closer to 3x, maybe even 4 worth of what Bitcoin does, especially for like ones like Cypher, that's probably closer to 4. Maybe CleanSpark is closer to 3 or 2.5. But if you're getting those kind of multipliers, you can dial out earlier and eliminate your downside risk and that multiplier to the downside, and then put it more conservatively into like stuff like one of these Bitcoin ETFs. And then you don't have the downside risk, but you can still enjoy some of that upside as you go to 280. So like maybe you do what I'm going to do, and if we get to 148 in a hurry, you take some off the table, and then if we get a big drawdown, you can always buy into that again, like under a tax advantaged account where you're not having to worry about, short-term capital gains. You could always take some of it off the table, and if there's other investments like Tesla, you could dip into those, or whatever else that might look good, and then you can jump back over into this if it has like a 30% retrace, because that happens. That's probably still going to happen, right? We can drop 30%. We could go to 150 and go back down to 100. That wouldn't be crazy. We could go to 150 actually up here, this 148ish range, and then we could drop down to the fib again, even towards the 90s. And then find that as support before going higher. But you can use this kind of logic to make it to where it's easier for you to be able to make a lot of money to the upside, reduce your risk with taking the multipliers down while you're making a bunch of money, and then dial into things that are more conservative. And that way you're ensuring that you just fucking do great. That's why I was in options a year and a half ago for CleanSpark, Mara, and MicroStrategy, right? That's why I had January 2025s, a year and a half ago, because when CleanSpark was in the dollars, those were really cheap. And that's what I'm going to do next cycle too. So you guys can come for the ride. It gets a little more advanced each cycle, like things become a little more complicated because everybody gets smarter. But as long as you're ahead of that, you can do really well. And you just have to be smart, and you got to listen to smart people. That's really the trick, right? It's being able to ascertain truth from fiction, no bullshitters versus people that really know what they're talking about, and then absorb everything you can from the people that really know what they talk about and that win, and then ignore the bullshit from people like Peter Schiff who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? All right, so I'm gonna get caught up with chat here. Been just ranting the whole time. But yeah, so Bitcoin, let's zoom in a little bit. Oh, that looks like shit. Pew. Okay, here we go. That's too close. I just got like right up in her face. All right, there we go. So again, still looking beautiful. Let me read chat. So how is the halving enforced? I know block rewards are halved, but the blocks just take longer. No, they just literally, the reward is halved. Yeah, the reward is halved. So they're still doing the same kind of work they were doing before. It's just the payout is half of what it was before. And that is built into the code. Halved, it takes longer everywhere, cap out at the end of the day and the daily supply. Yeah, no, it's literally just gets cut in half. It's very simplistic. Intelligent computing, if it hadn't had the retracement in 2021, and if we translate the following rise to the prior high, BTC should have reached 104. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? That's not math-wise. Maybe it was in the 90s or 100, or maybe it was 140, 150. You're right. There are technical ways that you could make all of that work. But you're right. It's very interesting to think that way, because if we got neutered last time, and then we have all these multipliers to the upside this time, like I said, this to me is the triple quadruple halving. It's one of those two. There's a lot of pressure to the upside this time, and we were low on pressure before, so we could be making up for some of that. So I totally agree. This is one of the greatest wealth opportunities that's a sure thing, I believe, that humanity has had for our generation, for everybody that's watching this, whether you're old or you're young. This is literally the best wealth creator and preserver of wealth that we've had in our lives. Outside of like some speculative investment that a number of people made money off of, this is an investment the entire world can have. And they can have it 24/7. It's fucking crazy. Sealess, it's like New Year's Eve, big nothing except for the company. True. Very, very well said. Cedric Esther, hey Jesse, love your content. Just wondering what your thoughts on Riot are. I think actually, so they just opened up another facility. I think they might do all right. They've got ambitious goals, man. So real quickly, let's just maybe look at this. Let's go copyright infringe my buddy Sebastian's work, because I'm too lazy to do it myself. Sebastian Ski, we love you. He's got a Patreon. You guys should join it. It's got great stuff on it. I show you his work because I want people to know how good it is. Let's see, is he sharing it today? Yes, he is, right down here. There's a PDF. He gives you the numbers. He gives you Excel sheets. This guy's great. If you're not subscribed to him on YouTube, go there. But yeah, so let's just look at Riot. Let's go find Riot. Where are we at here? There's Riot. Oh, that's fancy. All right. So Riot's goals for hash rate aren't as ambitious as CleanSpark, but they are looking to have almost 41 exahash, and they're only at 12.4 right now. So you know there's a lot of new equipment coming, which is great. And I love the HODL stack. I think these guys might not be the second. It might be Hut. I don't know. Hut sold a bunch. We'll have to look at that. But these guys are at what? 84.90? Let's see if we can find Hut. Wow, I'm good. All right, so these guys right here in their HODL stack are 91.02. So I would argue by next quarter, Riot is going to surpass Hut as the second largest miner by stack. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, right? We don't hate that. And then when I'm looking at miner speeds, there's a bunch of shit in red here that's going away. All these 90,000s are going to go away. The 110 probably should too, honestly. All this stuff is good shit right here. Look at this, 250, 280, 230. They're buying very powerful miners. Very powerful miners. So they have ambitious goals. They have a huge stack that can be very lucrative. And if we look at them over here too, under visual stocks, real quickly here, I just think this one's a great opportunity, guys. So if we look over here, let's just look at this. Nope, sorry, over here. So Bitcoin holdings. And theirs were actually listed pretty low. That's interesting. Oh, in USD it grew. Okay, here we go. All right, so their stack, again, wasn't that big. Look at that. It was only 7,400 or 7436.3. So it's larger now. It's already in the 8s, right? But you can see here the jump from the FASB accounting rules. They went from 198 million in USD to 311. So this next one will probably be even higher than that. And then the next one will be higher than that. So the Bitcoin that they're holding is acting like a multiplier to their revenues. It's an artificial multiplier. And when you do all the standard accounting stuff that people like to do and crunch all the math, when you see that kind of growth, when you see that kind of like massive wealth and balance sheet going up and net income going up, these guys made $79 million in a quarter where before they were losing. And if we look at the yearly on them, just how miners work, these guys were never that good. And you know what's funny about all this? I made I think I want to say, I don't remember if it was 100x. I think it was 100x off of Riot last cycle. In some of my investments, I made 100x for the stuff I was still holding on at the end. So there was a lot of money made here. But look at this. The net income's like shit, right? It's shit compared to now. And they have all these holdings. Again, I've made a bunch of videos off this, but the companies that are going to do best this cycle have large Bitcoin holdings. They're well managed and they're aggressively expanding. And so these guys having what I believe is going to be, the third highest hash rate, I believe. And then at the same time, with their full expansion, and then at the same time have the second highest Bitcoin holdings very soon is huge. It's a huge thing. It's a very big deal. And if we look here, companies like Iron, they're not going to benefit from that because they don't seem to understand accounting, which is frightening. HUD 8, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if that's a fraud, but I know Sue's a cutie, right? We love Sue. Everybody loves Sue. Core Scientific, they already went bankrupt once. Probably stay away from that one, right? They don't have any Bitcoin. They used to have the largest stack of everybody, but they went bankrupt. That's why you have to be able to manage your miners and have uptime. That's kind of Mara's problem, right? It's what they're not good at. But CleanSpark here, look at them. They're up to 5,000, so they're aggressively adding. You got to realize last cycle, it was Cores, and it was Mara, and it was Riot. Those were the biggest miners on publicly traded miners on Earth in that order, right? And it might have actually been Riot and then Mara, but Mara bought a bunch. They bought a bunch of Bitcoin. That's where their wealth comes from. It doesn't even come from doing the thing that they're supposed to be. It's not from mining. That's not how they made their money. They actually seem to suck at managing that stuff, but they were good in understanding Bitcoin and then buying Bitcoin. And that's helped them a lot. They actually did that again this last cycle. But again, if you just look at these, you can see like the stuff I would be invested in, it would be like, maybe I'll even buy Riot. I don't know. If it doesn't move as fast as like Cypher and CleanSpark, maybe I'll diversify a little bit into it as like an arbitrage play. But these other miners are shit. Like it's CleanSpark, Riot, Cypher, and then I would say Mara. Mara, if they can execute. And again, Cypher's growing its stack. It's only at 1,741, but that's pretty fast growth. And they're going from 6.6 exahash to about 17 exahash. Pretty aggressive growth. A lot of their equipment isn't that old. So that's a bonus too, right? You don't want a bunch of old equipment. If we zoom in here, sorry, forget this with my Mac every once in a while. If you look in here at the exahash, they've got some old stuff they need to get rid of, but they're expanding into the 200,000s now too. So these guys are, you know, they're like, what are they, tripling? Or they're doing a 3x roughly for their hash rate increase. So that's great too. And they've got Bitcoin. That's all good stuff. Bitfarms, I don't know. I think they're benefiting from a FASB-like accounting rules. I think I've heard two things. I've heard that they translate over because they've got stuff in the US and so they're able to use FASB accounting. But then I've also heard that Canadian accounting is similar to it. And so they're getting fair market value. I don't know which one it is. Here's what I know I don't like about Bitfarms. Look at this. They're not adding to their Bitcoin holdings aggressively enough. And companies like Cypher are growing above them. And so they're going to be more valuable. And you see that right now based on the price. And Bid Digital, this one here, I don't remember why I don't like them. It might be old equipment and stuff like that. But really, let me look at Mara here too. Let me go down here. If I can find it. Where are you, Mara? There we go. All right, cool. So let's look at this one. So this one, these guys have just a stack that's fucking ridiculous. It's the only reason really to own Mara because they're horrible at being a Bitcoin miner, but they have 17,381 Bitcoin. And that is such a monumental fucking number. To put that in perspective, you saw that Riot had made 79 million net income for their quarter this last quarter. Let's look at Mara. Mara in revenue, and look at how steep this is. Mara in revenue had 156 million, and their net income was 223 million. Do you know why they were such a successful Bitcoin miner? It's not from Bitcoin. It's from having $639 million in Bitcoin, which is not double, but pretty fucking close to what they had before. And so imagine what happens if Bitcoin's price doubles again. Then this company has 1.3 billion in assets sitting under here. And again, like, so they're not great at mining and keeping their shit up, but their debt issues that I was concerned about, where they had too much debt, not enough assets, and I thought they were going to go the way of Coors and go bankrupt, that's gone now. They've got more cash, liquid cash, than they do long-term debt. So they're good. They're good. Just from Bitcoin alone, they can do all right. So I don't know. I waffle back and forth on whether I want to support this miner. But I don't trash on people that do. I do trash on Mara pigs. All you guys are fucking idiots. But people that hold Mara, I see why. So I think those four, if you own those four, Cypher, CleanSpark, what was the other? Riot, and then Mara, I think that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. And if you own those things, you're going to be so set. That's my take. Now, over here, I never finished this. Let's get back to it. So the gains come after the halving, it says here. And then I'll try and get back to comments here too. Sorry about that. So the gains come after the halving. So I believe, again, over here, I think we probably would have got to like 1,000%. So I believe over here, we can do 600. 500 to 600%. So if you just take the number that we have today, and again, my target was only 280, and I know I'm saying that I believe it's going higher than that, and I do. There's another chart here we're going to look at. I just think it's possible, but I'm going to start dialing out at 150, guys, because you have to look at it this way. If I've made a multiple on the upside of up to 3 to 4x on some of my returns between my shit coins and my miners and all this kind of stuff, right? And then maybe, a little bit less with MicroStrategy. If I've made this huge multiple, then I can dial out at 150 and I can go into the safer stuff. And if it doubles again, great. But if it starts to fall, I don't sell it when it falls. You wait until it bounces again, because after the peak of each cycle, you have a wick back up. And so you have time to save yourself. You can't really see it here, but if you look over here, there's the peak. There's the drop. Then you go up like another 70%. You're almost back to where you were before you fall off a cliff. So you have time to determine that it's time to get out. So you've dialed at 150. I've dialed out of all my multipliers. I'm just sitting in like some IBIT type thing, right? But probably like the Fidelity one. And so I'm in that now. The multiplier is gone. And if we keep going up, I make money and I can slowly sell it. But if it all of a sudden has a massive wick down and drops like 40%, 38% in a period of days or a week, and it looks bad and it looks like it's probably over, it will come back 70%, and I could sell out of the last of it there. And I will have gotten just wicked results for returns this cycle and be a lot safer than other people. That's kind of my exit strategy. And so I believe we can get to 300,000, maybe even 4. But if I'm out at 150 and then I'm in these more conservative investment, I'm going to do really well. All right, I'm going to try and get caught up with Chad here. Oh, and thank you for Joe Dog joining. Thank you everybody who supports me, man. I appreciate you guys. I try to do my best by you. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to work hard for you. I can promise you that. Sebastian's a legend, chill dude. Sebastian is very chill. He's a good person too. I like him. Sebastian Ski's great. So again, support that guy too. Liam Dillon, does BTC weekly close based on UTC timing? I believe so. Intelligent computing, Liam Dillon, yes. If you change your chart to time zone to UTC, you'll see. Yep, perfect. Okay, thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Sealess, do you think that meme coins have psychological limitation and cost? Like will WIF get diminishing interest above $5? Dude, there's weird themes that happen each cycle. We had ICOs in my first cycle. That was 2017. It was initial coin offerings. Everybody did it. You made shit tons of money. And then this last one, obviously, I think the meme one was a really like that was unexpected for me. I didn't think Dogecoin would be the best, and then didn't think Shibcoin and Floki and all this bullshit would come in. Doge was meant to be a joke. It was satire. The person who created it didn't make any money off of it. It's an oddity. But there's themes each cycle, and then now I think there's a number of themes going on. But I think obviously the meme coin theme has stuck. I think we could see NFT again, but maybe there's too much trauma from last time. Maybe that'll take until later cycle. But these things, when these themes exist, they can go up a lot. But I think the thing that you have to remember is that shitcoins, from one cycle to the next, only 7% of them outperform Bitcoin. So if it was a shitcoin last cycle, 93% of those will fail. Okay? Or not do as well as Bitcoin. So you might as well just own Bitcoin. And then if you go to a second cycle, if they've existed for 2, 97% of them will not be good. 97 to 98. So you've got almost 1 in 50 odds of not doing as well or doing better than Bitcoin. So like 1 to 50. And so it's just like, that's just really stupid and it makes no sense. And so you have to think about it that way. The newer stuff, there will be newer themes each cycle, and you want to be in the new stuff. That's why I don't hold a lot of really old shit coins, because there's just no purpose in it. And it again, they most probably will not do as well, because there's all these people with these massive bags. Okay, massive bags. You got to think about all the people that bought last cycle, and a number of them, all they want to do is just make their fucking money back and then get into something that's popular. So think about it that way. It's very important too. If you do that, you'll have a better understanding of what's possible. But try and find the themes of today. I think right now I would say that Solana is definitely a theme, right? I feel pretty safe. I don't know why that keeps going down. I feel pretty safe. Whatever. Let me just do it this way. Oh, it just keeps wanting to go down. This is evil. All right. So Solana, again, that's why I have like 43% allocation in this. I don't know why this wants to move. If you look over at the bottom right, I can't put my mouse over it because it'll move on me. But I've got, like, at least in my main primary shitcoin portfolio, I've got a 43.61% allocation to Sol. That's definitely a theme. I think Near Protocol is getting some of that. I've got a couple of layer 2 for Ethereums in here, Optimism and Arbitrum. I've got some ETH, not a lot. I've got some more of that in my other portfolio. So maybe like 50K, 60K in ETH. I've got some Render, Injective, another protocol with Atom. And then Matic is another protocol off the Ethereum one. And Internet Control. Again, I got bullshit in here too. But the bulk of it, I think, is going to do well off of Solana. I got that thesis is from James, man. And people that listen to him, he might have got you like 34, 37 on Bitcoin and been wrong about that. But if you bought fucking Solana and got some of these shit coins he was recommending within that ecosystem, you made a lot of money. More than I would have made outside of my options that I did with the 700% last year. But you would have done really well. That theme held up well. All right, you still bullish on BITF? Not really. That's why I sold it all. Not that it can't do okay. I'm just not as bullish. I want to buy the best, right? So I want CleanSpark, I want Cypher, Riot, and then I would argue Mara. I just don't. Bitfarms isn't anything special compared to those. Intelligent computing on the BTC USD daily chart. The RSI looks like it will cross above the rising moving average, which is usually a bullish sign if the RSI is under 50, which it is last time. It's hard to translate all that. Now, I get what you're saying, but it's just hard to it would be cool if you could share a chart on here too. Maybe we'll have to do a stream or something, man. That way you could visualize it better and explain it. All in bottom buyers are going to take profits at 5x-ish, 75K, and 10x-ish, 150, but they're rare. Yeah, I think we get to 150. I think we get to 150 pretty easy in this one. So easy. Appreciate you, Jesse. Thanks, man. Yosoi E-Stripper. Jesse, you're the best of the best. Oh, hey, man. Thank you. Cedric Esther, have you looked into Stack, which is a layering solution for... I think I own some. Stacks, right? I think you mean Stacks. Is that right? Dude, if I can get this fucking screen to work right. Gonna go rage on Coinbase's interface here. It's just being a shithead. I think I have some. Do I have Stacks in here? Thought I did. Do I not? I swear to God, I have some somewhere. I don't know where. Whatever. I'm pretty sure I own some. I've only done so much. Here's the thing. I'm not a shitcoin person. I'm not really a shitcoin person. So, oh yeah, I do. Right there. I got a little bit. I just did enough research to be dangerous. And then, like many things I've done in life, I'm kind of a jack of all trades and an ace of none. Maybe some now. Before none. But I outsource some of my work, like James with Invest Answers and just a bunch of other people that have been in the industry for a very long time. CryptoLark's kind of cool. He's got a unique take. But James is like one of the best. And but anyway, I let him do all the research. He had a bunch of beautiful charts and he made a lot of sense. And so I let him do a lot of the legwork. And then there's some other things that I took. I wanted to just stay on Coinbase. I didn't want to have to swap between exchanges. I didn't want to have to be on less reputable exchanges. I didn't care so much about fees because I'm not day trading. I'm just buying and holding. So anyway, I outsourced to him and a few other people and just my own thoughts over a weekend's research, and then I bought everything. And that's it. And now I'm going to hold it for a year. And that's the effort that I'm putting in. And so I won't be the guy to go to if you want to find the latest shitcoin everybody's chasing after. That won't be me because I don't care. I'm too old to give a fuck about stuff like that. When you get old like me, you'll probably realize what that's like and why sometimes being lazy and just letting math work for you is okay too. So that's my take on it. Anyway, let's go over here. Let's see what else. All right. So anyway, 600%. That's what I wanted to say.
After the
Let's
halving.
listen to the rest of
History. Ta-da. No surprise there. The white is the halving line. Another indicator that's super interesting too is a breakdown.
This is a cool one. So what this is showing here is that the all-time highs occur when this line breaks above this level down here. And it's in regard to the Bitcoin, binary spending indicator. Significant decline in 1-year-old supply, profit-taking posts, all-time high break. So let's listen to what he has to say here.
About the long-term holder spending and slowing. I covered this yesterday, but it's a brand new chart from Check on Chain, from Checkbaity on Twitter. And here you can see that when the long-term holder spending starts to slow, the price starts to pump. So we have some good times ahead. And the final chart for you all today, the day of the halving.
Oh, this is my favorite, actually.
A lot of people think we're topping out. And I started the video saying this. People packing their bags, going home. They're thinking, okay, that's it. We made it to 73. Bitcoin's over. It's dead. The ETFs aren't buying anymore. No.
This is a good one.
Let's check this as well from Check on Chain. You can see as well here, when the red peaks and hits the orange mountains, okay, it's over. It's when the top heavy short-term holders are in.
So he's saying right here, it's over. So if you've made this peak and you see this happening where it's getting really close to here, then you know the cycle's over. You don't need to speculate at this point. Honestly, I could tell before this for the most part. But this is actually, if you look at it over here, it's interesting too. But the problem is it binds it in the, here is where it would have been helpful. Right here, last cycle. That's actually brilliant. Okay, I'm going to track this one going forward. This is actually helpful because if you have something weird and premature like this, you know how we had this where it went down really hard and then we saw this here, it's indicating that it was over. It's like, okay, sure. But here's the thing. It actually went up and was able to reach its previous levels. So this can actually be an indicator when we're hitting this, the red is hitting the orange. We can use this as an indicator that we have, in fact, bottom potentially. Over here, it's not as helpful because by the time it got up near this level, right over here, it didn't really bounce much higher. I would have actually probably been out, at least like up here, a 40-50% bounce, or maybe over here. I definitely would have been out right here because when you get this kind of significant decline, I would be out. But in cases like this, it was hard to know. The decline wasn't as significant. And then it looked like when you were doing this, it looked like it was going to end up just flagging up and breaking higher. But this right here, hitting it, would have actually told me that this was probably still going to be a fail. And so I could have got out. Well, and I kind of did get out in the 40s this last cycle. So that turned out all right for me anyway. But yeah, so this might be helpful too. Again, it's just another indicator. There's so many good ones out there. MRV score, all this other stuff. It's all great ways to find out where the top is.
In loss. And when you see that, it is over. Right now, the short-term holders are not in loss. They're very much in profit. And we are very, very far away from hitting the yellow. So I added a little green graphic there saying, nope, it's not over. So the bears can go back to migration for another while.
Yeah, and
we'll
that's probably, you know what, that's the best part of this slide. And I didn't even touch on it. Right down here in the bottom right-hand side, you can see where the red is. It's nowhere fucking close. It's not even fucking close. So what it's telling us is we've got a long, long ways to go. That's probably the better take from this
There's
one.
a little green graphic there saying, nope, it's not over. So the bears can go back to migration for another while. But we'll be on top of things here. When we start getting bubbly and hot, I'll be the first one to pull the ejector seat. Trust me. For you all. So don't.
If he isn't, I am. So between the two of us, you're good.
Forget to subscribe. And finally, this is another cool piece of data that you may want to see. This is the Bitcoin unrealized profits for on-chain all cohorts. We have the old whales that are up 223%. We have the new whales, the TradFi and the ETFs. They're only up 1.6%. And the small miners up 130%. Big miners up 81%. So this is not enough profit. All these major hodlers, these cohorts, are not in enough profit to even consider dumping at this stage.
This is another beautiful chart. He's got so many good analytics. I think this is another Glassnode. You know what? That's what I'm going to do too. I've subscribed to all these new services to be able to step up my game in the stock world and in the YouTube creation world. And just, you know, my presentation will get a lot better here soon. But I'm going to get the fancy Glassnode membership too. It's a lot more expensive to get real-time data. I'll be able to pull all these same things that James gets, so it'll be helpful. And I'll make sure I'm tracking all those too, and then showing them to you. So we'll have a real good idea when we're getting toppy.
There's a lot more.
And then maybe James and I can do a live stream or a number of live streams so we can talk about whether or not we think we're getting toppy based upon all the stuff that we're looking at. Because analytically, he's probably better than me, but I think we come at it from different takes, and I think they're both pretty positive. So we should probably collaborate.
More of this bull market to go is basically the message from CryptoQuant. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And the weekends.
All right. So that's that. I don't know if I got more to talk about. I'm super excited, guys. Just to recap, this is just an amazing time. And again, we've got to look at it this way. It's really important that we understand that this doesn't just enrich us. It's a better version of our future. it's the less dystopian one. So if you guys don't want to have dark days ahead, we should probably promote something that helps create financial stability in a time where our system is quickly destroying it. So just think about how much this can help the world and how it can enrich you at the same time. And let's work hard to make a bunch of money and use our capital for cool shit. Not just us, but the people around us that we love, our friends, family, other people that we connect with in life. Whatever we can do to enrich other people and it will benefit you just as much. Let's make our communities better. Let's just do cool shit and have more time. Like, let's invest in things that are making the world a better place, that are advancing it at a quicker pace, that are lowering our chances of destroying ourselves through war and other just stupid human traits. And let's build a future that's full of abundance. Let's put all of our money towards things that make us richer and make the world richer and create, when I get older, I want a robot to be able to be my friend and help take care of me so that my child doesn't, and I don't have to sit in an old folks home. I want to be able to have my car drive me around instead of having to be dependent upon other people to move. I think we can do some cool shit in the future, and that's what I look forward to. And I hope we all get there together and can help build it. And until then, reminder, I have a stream Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be like the pre-Monday game. I haven't named it. Got to figure that out. But Sunday we'll be talking about the week ahead. Maybe that's the name. And we'll be trying to analyze what's going to happen on Monday, and we're going to be talking about all this, the stuff economically and news-wise that happened over the weekend that might point that in a different direction versus what we talk about on Fridays. So we're going to start doing that, and then I might do another thing on Saturday. I need to kind of figure that out. I need to get all my equipment going. I need to get my stream deck. There's so much shit to do. So I need to figure out all these tools. I need to do that. I need to start coming up with more streams. I'm going to try and really expand over the next 2 years because I want us all to get rich, and I want it to be a cool experience, and I want us to grow together. And I want more and more people to join this group so that we can do that, right? The smarter people we get talking to each other, helping each other, correcting me when I'm wrong, which happens a decent amount. And thank you to Intelligent Computing and a bunch of other people who fill in the gaps sometimes when I miss them. I really appreciate you guys. And let's get cooler, man. Let's make a bunch of fucking money. Let's change the world. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. We're going out. Bye.
With time, a seed becomes a tree, sheltering us. With time, a skill becomes a talent, empowering us. With time, a technology becomes a tool, enhancing us. By nature, time gives value to almost everything, yet the very thing our society gives value to, our money, loses value over time. This paradox warps our reality by defying the laws of nature, and it stems from the belief that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow, meaning money must reality off of this model. Time value of money, we call it, but in reality, this is just dogma. Since we can keep making more of it, we end up destroying our own purchasing power. So we put it in stocks, put it in bonds, put it